Hi guys, pmqs was absolutely pathetic on Wednesday. You had MP after MP condemning the threat that was made against Diane Abbott, yet the Speaker of the House, Sir Lindsay Hoyle, ignored her attempts to speak up for herself. Keir Starmer roasted the Prime Minister on his defence of the Tory donor, but I believe Stephen Flynn from the SNP was the one who was the most angry. Here he calls out what most people would describe as extremism, the same extremism that the Conservative Prime Minister was calling on the public to stand up to just a short while ago. Have a listen to this.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I wish to begin by wishing Ramadan Mubarak to Muslims across these aisles. Mr. Speaker, the Conservative Party have accepted a £10 million donation from an individual who has said that one of our parliamentary colleagues in this chamber should be shot. Why is the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom putting money before morals?
Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, as I said, the comments were wrong. The gentleman in question has apologised for them, and that remorse should be accepted.
Stephen Flynn! This is complete rubbish. The gentleman in question apologised for being rude. He wasn't rude, he was racist, he was odious, and he was downright bloody dangerous. Now, on Monday, the number 10 said, we've seen an unacceptable rise in extremist activity which is seeking to divide our society and hijack our democratic institutions. Isn't it extremism that we should all be worried about? The views of those Tory donors that we've read about this week.
Prime Minister. No, Mr. Speaker, there has actually been a rise in extremist activity that is seeking to hijack our democratic institutions.
What? The guy is a donor. You're saying there's an extremism trying to hijack the democratic process, the democratic institutions. The guy is a freaking donor. He's a donor to the Conservative Party. He has donated £5 million to Rishi Sunak personally, and he's donated another £5 million to the Conservative Party. 10 million in total. And is this money being given back? Of course not. The Conservatives are saying, no, don't blame the money. The money isn't racist. And what we need to do is we just need to move on. Stop talking about this. Start talking about something else. Now, friends of the Conservative Party have been attacking Diane Abbott, it seems. Trying to, go through her past tweets, comments that she's made in the past, to try and muddy the waters, to try and engage in some whataboutism. Stop talking about Tory donors and start talking about things that Diane Abbott said in the past. The problem here is Diane Abbott is no longer a Labour Party member not a member of Parliament for the Labour Party. We're talking about somebody who has donated £10 million to the Conservative Party. Somebody who has massive influence. So much influence that the Conservative Party have given him contracts worth over 135, I think, million pounds via the NHS. And obviously they're not going to give the donations back. Why has he donated this money? What has he got in return? These are the questions that need to be answered. And if the Conservative Party truly care about racism and extremism, surely they would give that money back and say, we don't want anything to do with you, and we don't want anything to do with racists who want to donate to the Conservative Party to influence politics, to influence democracy.
It's important that we have the tools to tackle this threat. That's what the extremism strategy will do, and I would urge him to wait for the Community Secretary to release the details.
So, of course, this guy won't be deemed an extremist, even though his language is extremist. Calling for an MP to be shot. The worst of all of this is not this theatre of Parliament, but the fact that Diane Abbott herself was not allowed to speak. The Speaker of the House, Sir Lindsay Hoyle, probably saw her stand up a number of times, and he didn't give her the courtesy of actually allowing her to speak. And I think this comes back to the main problem. Sir Lindsay Hoyle probably wants a seat in the House of Lords, so he's allowing the Tories to get away with all sorts of shenanigans. If he had allowed her to speak, she would have embarrassed the Prime Minister. She would have embarrassed the Conservative Party. So he didn't want that, it seems. They talked about rugby. They talked about World War II. How is it How is it possible you can talk about these things, but you can't talk about an MP who has been threatened? Or threatened either directly or indirectly? It's absolutely ridiculous, and it shows once again that Parliament is nothing but a charade. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.